Welcome into another Wednesday edition of the Stripe Show podcast. It's Froggy, and thank you so much for letting us be a part of your Wednesday and finding time to join the program. And today I want to give a special thank you to three-time PGA Tour winner Scott Stallings. He is here with us today. And Scott, thank you so much for your time. I know you had a busy week, lots of good golf being played, and thanks so much for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was an interesting week in Fort Worth for sure.
It was a very interesting week. I have tons of questions to ask. You're on site, you know what's going on, and so first, I want to talk about you're in Tennessee, correct?
I am.
Are you a Vols fan?
I cheer for the Vols. I would say I don't live and die by everything they do, but I am a fan and look forward to seeing people run through the tee here in a few months. And I know everyone's kind of ready to see some type of normalcy in Neyland Stadium. I took my son over. They did Top Golf in Neyland a few weeks ago, and just the amount of people that came out for that kind of just gives you a glimpse of what football season in the fall will be like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Gator fan, so we are going to play each other the third week of the season in Gainesville. We get maybe it's the fourth week. We get Alabama the week before, so we might be a little beat up and licking our wounds by the time we get to Tennessee. I don't think anybody beats Alabama.
Yeah, who knows?
Early.
Yeah, who knows about the what kind of team they're going to have, but I'm sure everyone has a lot of hopes and dreams for the start of the season, but it'll be nice to see what happens, kind of a change of regime and coaching and new athletic director. So it'll be interesting to see for sure.
It will be. I'm looking forward to football season back. You mentioned that, through the pandemic, people are looking to get back to normalcy, and you can see it when you watch the golf tournaments. You can see crowds are jazzed to be back and love seeing the fans again. How do you, as a player, do you enjoy playing more in front of fans, or did you enjoy the time where there was nobody out there?
It was very unique. My second event back was Hartford, and I played good. I finished sixth there on the weekend, and I remember me and Sung You'll Know birdied 18 to, at the time, get to like third or fourth place, and normally that would be like a or something,
right?
And it was literally like no one, there was no one there. And I think maybe one of the camera guys as we're walking off was like, "Great putt, man," and that was it. Right. And then fast forward to a few weeks ago, I played well in Dallas, and we were on the 18th green. We had a rain delay, and then lightning hit. And basically, we had a 2.5 hour delay to putt a 15-footer, and at the time to get into second place or tie for second. And so we sat around and to go out there and then make it, and to hear the crowds and everything. Golf is definitely better with fans. Everything that happened with Phil winning the PGA, kind of people are just hungry for that, and live sports are a huge part of our lives. And the PGA Tour has done a good job as far as getting us in a situation where we bring it back. And but you can definitely tell people are hungry to be back out there, and it's exciting to have them out there cheering us on.
Yeah, I mean, you played really well in Dallas at the Byron Nelson. Would you roll off 10 birdies in that round, 6 in a row? I mean, golf really. I mean, listen, I'm a huge fan of golf and play a lot of golf. It is so hard, but sometimes you just get into that maybe a emotion or whatever, the swing thought or whatever, and everything starts going right. Is that what happened in that round?
Yeah, I think, this is my 11th year on tour, and, you start to kind of know that, the days where everything is working is, you want to say that it's all the time, but unfortunately it's not, just with all the different variables that we have. I mean, Fort Worth's a perfect example. We had a completely different wind direction every single day. The course was super soft, wet throughout the rain during the week, and then just kind of dealing with, the time of day that you played and kind of, how the holes are situated, and, not every day is the same. So the days that you do have it all clicking, like, you need to take full advantage of it and, truly get as much out of as you possibly can, because you just never really know, when those days are going to come around. So you have to take advantage of them when you get them.
Yeah, it was good to see Jason Kokrak win yesterday. It's when you watch it, it's crazy how it took him 232 starts to get his first victory, and then 17 starts later he gets another one. Is that encouraging for players who haven't won in a while and are trying to get back on track and trying to get the ball rolling again? That maybe it is that avalanche feeling of, if I just win one, I could win again and again and again.
Yeah, I mean, golf is, there's maybe one person ever to, stack up enough wins to, change a winning percentage. But in all honesty, golf is one of the only sports that, in terms of, failure and successes, you have significantly more failures in terms of winning golf tournaments. I mean, I've won 3 in my career. I have no idea how many events I've played, but I've technically lost more than I've won. But I
Right.
think it's all about perspective and understanding, like, when you do have those situations when you can push it towards the lead, and to truly not shy away from the opportunity, and kind of dive in head first, and, deal with consequences that come, because, the margin of error is so small, and everyone top to bottom, I mean, everybody can win. And it's just a matter of, taking the opportunity when it's presented, and executing, and kind of dealing with everything that comes your way as you're coming down the stretch.
Is there ever a time when you're practicing prior to an event where you think to yourself, "This is a week I've got it. I think if I play well, I could win because I'm really feeling it this week."
Well, I've won 3 completely different ways. I won, kind of where, I won in a playoff. I won at Torrey coming down the stretch of a really, really hard golf course, and just didn't make bogeys, made a bunch of par putts. And then I won in Jackson, where I played great all week. But to be honest, like, Jackson in 2012 was a unique experience in the fact that Wednesday afternoon, like, I couldn't hit the range with an 8 iron, and just struggling, and, a little bit of, some swing stuff, a little bit of just everything that kind of goes on when you're struggling. And I hit about 3 shots in a row, and it all started to kind of come together. It was, late afternoon, late evening practice session, and it was after the pro-am where I think I ran out of balls. and you go out there, and, golf's such a unique game, and, you see a couple of shots and start stringing them together, and like, okay, I can actually do this. And then it starts to kind of build in and go from there.
I don't think the average person understands. I know I don't, and maybe you can speak to this. How hard is it to win on the PGA Tour? How difficult is it to close the door?
I mean, I don't know if I could necessarily put it in context where we're like an old person, but I mean, just, you're out there, you're one of 150 guys in the world that, are the best players, the best at what they do, and coming down the stretch, and you're on a knife's edge already, and, the slightest little error, poor execution, or, miss 10-footer. I mean, it can all just, kind of extrapolate down from, opportunity to win. And, next thing you know, it's like you see it. And, but I think the guys that have been in that situation more and more, they kind of relish it. And, the situation, they're continually pushing themselves towards that. And I think that's something we can all strive towards.
I mean, I asked because I've been, standing over a putt on 18 or 16, 17, where I know my buddies are going to break my balls if I don't make it, or I'm going to lose $20. And I know how much that is unnerving to me, where I can't imagine what it's like to stand there knowing there's thousands of people standing around you. You're on national television and you're putting for hundreds of thousands. Every putt could be worth $100,000. What it's worth, I've got to make this putt, and trying to will it in the hole versus just being so free, way you probably start on a Thursday, so to speak.
Yeah, I think it's a completely different perspective. Like, I couldn't imagine interviewing people every single day, just like, I mean, I go to work, I don't really see the people. I enjoy being out there and playing in front of fans, just like I'm sure all the other PGA Tour guys do. But I think that in the situation is, the first one on Thursday is just as important as the putt on Sunday. That's the one that the only people see. And when I won at Greenbrier my rookie year, I actually missed a putt on the fifth green on Thursday, and it was literally less than about 6 inches. It hit the back liner of the hole, and it came out. I mean, it was this far. I don't know where my camera is.
Wow.
But I mean, just like one of those, I go to tap it in, and it hits the back edge of the liner, and it comes out. And I just remember coming down the stretch is like, if I lose this tournament by one shot, like, but that's just the stuff that people don't see. Cause I mean, it was, random front nine early in the week. No one really saw it. And then, but coming down to it, like everyone always asks, what do you think about that putt you missed on 18? It's like, well, I don't really think about that one, but I think about the 10 others that I missed throughout the course of the week. And so, I mean, ultimately the culmination of being able to execute under, the microscope and the ultimate pressure of the final hole, but the same time and attention needs to go into the first shot, just like the last one.
Yeah, every shot counts. I mean, that's the one thing about our sport I always say is a 300, the greatest drive you've ever hit, 325, 30, 40 yards counts just as much as a putt that's this far. The sport is crazy how it works. It's a sport we've chosen to play. Some of us are much better than others. However, it's just, it is what it is. It drives us crazy. I go to the golf course and I have a good round. I come home in a great mood. My wife's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you played good today." And I know why she's happy, because I'm in a good mood. Where when I play bad, man, it's just, you feel like you're never going to find it when it's wrong. And you feel like you can't lose it when it's good.
And definitely had those experiences. Last week was very much so. I ventured in the rough a lot at Colonial, and if anyone saw any of the TV, the rough was very high. So I definitely understand that mentality. All the hopes and dreams of going to the first tee with a sense of expectation, and then the first drive of the day goes right under the lip of the bunker, and you just look, is like, what's going on?
Oh my goodness. And I know you now last week you played in a US Open qualifier. How did that go?
It was a very unique set of circumstances. The USGA has a set of challenges, and sort of, I don't know, they sort of back themselves into a hole just to choose their way to operate events. And we had a tremendous amount of rain in Dallas over the last few weeks, and they chose to use a course condition, playing it down, and it just kind of completely limited the opportunity to finish the event in adequate time. I was a couple holes short, and it just got to the point with the rain and the course conditions that I was probably not going to finish until Tuesday night. I was going to have to go. I think I would have had to birdie eagle one of my last 2 or 3 holes, and it just kind of got to the point of where, man, this is truly taken away from my opportunity to prepare for Colonial and a tournament that I love, a course that I love. And so I withdrew. I think that was the most withdrawals any U.S. Open sectional qualifiers ever had. They had 13 guys that were playing the NCAA tournament, a couple of Champions Tour guys that are getting ready for the senior PGA. There was about 18 PGA Tour players from Colonial. So Once it went on to Tuesday, it was like a mass exodus. And everyone's like, I need to focus on the tournament I know I'm playing in. So,
yeah, they did the US Open. Go ahead.
Yeah. They did the best with what they could, but still, I mean, I could go on hours on my thoughts on the USGA, but I just think that, it definitely changes are coming in the right way. And, just trying to see that, just because is not a good enough answer of why they choose to operate and do things the way they do. And, I think that'd be a good thing for everyone. And obviously I'm bummed that I'm not going to be at Torrey and places that I've had success. And
right.
I think it'd be incredible US Open, and look forward to checking it out.
Rapsodo Mobile Launch Monitor. Improve your golf swing today. Pro level launch data in the palm of your hand. It is very accurate, within 2% of a $20,000 unit. The Rapsodo MLM app automatically tracks stats and stores video with Shot Tracer, helpful for club gapping and understanding true distances for each club. Rapsodo MLM provides immediate feedback, data, and creates a better practice environment, not mindlessly hitting balls. Extremely portable, case is about the size of a rangefinder. And you know what? You can use it both indoors and outdoors. I love this launch monitor. It's the Rapsodo mobile launch monitor. Check it out at rapsodo.com, rapsodo.com, rapsodo.com.
Yeah, that's what I was about to mention, is that I know you and Tori have got some good history together. You've got a win there. You were in a playoff the year after. So you played well there, and obviously wanting to go back and have a chance to win a major, win the U.S. Open, with it being at a course that you have had success at, obviously was near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, and I mean, that's definitely a decision weighing on, staying or going or in kind of everything. Obviously, we would need an incredible finish, throughout the qualifier. But at that time, you need to focus on the events that you're in, and the events that, U.S. Opens are great. One of the best stretches I've ever had in my PGA Tour career. I finished fourth at Colonial, finished fourth at Memorial, and I finished second at Memphis. 3 events in a row. And in the process, I qualified for the U.S. Open, and that was at Marion. And I mean, probably the best month of golf I've played consistently throughout my career, 3 chances to win. And I'm not saying I don't remember if I won sectionals or whatever, but just, I was doing great. And then I qualified for the U.S. Open at Marion, made the cut. We had all sorts of weather, everything. And it just, honestly, I wasn't near in the shape that I am now, and it just kind of sucked the life out of me, just dealing with all the delays and the pressures of a major and a golf course that was as brutal as Marion was. As great as it was super tough. And, looking back on it, you see it's like, man, what if I had that week to kind of reset and look? But obviously we want to play and compete at the highest level and have opportunity to play and compete in majors. And look, I don't regret it or anything, but obviously utilizing it in a little bit change of perspective and understanding that, all right, I'm not in, I can't do anything about it. I put my best foot forward. I'm going to utilize a good week off and be ready to go in Hartford.
Yeah, you brought up being in the best shape. And Scott, a lot of people credit Tiger Woods with bringing fitness into golf. And you have really, really completely transformed your body and transformed your game with fitness. And so my question would be, a lot of people during the pandemic did work out. You were doing it well before that. How did getting into fitness change your approach to golf and change your game?
Well, I mean, I never did any of the changes for golf. I think that's kind of a common misconception. It's like, well, why did you do this? And why did you do that? And honestly, it was for my life. It was for my wife and my kids and myself. And if, golf continued, it was a bonus. And I never set out to make any of the physical changes or any of the lifestyle changes or anything to, benefit my golf career. It was solely, I mean, you can call it selfish or whatever, but golf was the furthest thing from my mind. And the fact that I've, now kind of come on the other side of it, I feel like a second chance in my career, and I'm super grateful for it. I'm grateful for the people that came around me, pushed me in the right direction, and kind of helped me learn and, develop better habits and, understanding like what a healthy lifestyle looks like of a person that travels 30 weeks a year and, managing all the other things that go into it. And, to be the husband and father that my kids and my wife deserve, and, to try to, be a go-between and help people not make the same mistakes that I did. And, you only get one of these. This is it. Right. Like, you don't get a second chance. And, it's amazing once you take care of this, what you're truly capable of. And, hopefully I can be a testament and, help people continue to be not go down the same road that I did.
So when you say that, going down the road that you did, how big was your transformation? Where did you start to where you are now?
Like in terms of like numbers and stuff, that's what everyone wants to know.
Yeah.
Like the biggest I ever was 252 pounds.
Wow.
So I was a big boy.
And was it eating? Was it an eating lifestyle? Obviously, you made a change in getting in the gym and working out, and taking care of your body. But did you change what you put into your body as well?
Yeah, it was a little bit of everything, and just golf. Like, you don't just become the best driver of the ball overnight, or the best putter. It's all incremental change, and the same kind of mentality is how you get better. Is and like flash in the pan stuff is not lasting, and you want to kind of build up a baseline to be able to handle it. And ultimately I had obstructive sleep apnea and I didn't know. Like I broke my nose a bunch as a kid and never really got it fixed properly, and went in and saw an ENT, and man, he changed my life. And kind of help where I could sleep and recover. And then kind of the cascade effect. I learned how to train. I learned how to eat. I learned how to travel. I learned how to do all these different things. And next thing you know, it kind of took its progression from there.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen what fitness can do. I mean, I'm a huge, like I said earlier, I'm a Gators fan, but I'm also a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. And so to see what Tom Brady has been able to do that nobody else has been able to do it at his age, to have the success, it's obviously a lot of it goes to his workout regime and what he puts into his body. And that really does make a huge difference from an athletic performance perspective.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of get out of it what you put into it. And, I know that's kind of a cliche term, but I mean, it's the truth. And I think that it goes in like, you want to perform it and, sustain it at a high level. Like, I mean, you can't go off smoke and mirrors and, just kind of flash in the pan, crash dieting and, what, just sort of this, cascade of ups and downs and, level and, where your body has some kind of form of consistency and kind of knows what you're getting on a day-to-day basis, and kind of be able to handle everything that comes our way. Golfers have definitely struggled with the, mystique of unathleticism and this and that. But, I think if you look now up and down the range, you can definitely tell that, people are putting in the work off the golf course and kind of seeing that, what it's going to take and, to continue to push yourself to be one of the best in the world.
Right. Scott, how important do you think fitness is to golf?
Overall, I think that you need to be doing something. I'm not saying you need to do what I do or what Bryson or Brooks or any of these other guys or Rory, like we all have, or Camilo for any of that reason. I think, we all have a thought process on what we feel the best, what we like the most, and, kind of what provides the best version of ourselves. And I think for people to kind of find that and kind of go down that journey, like it's same with, it's very individualistic too. And I think everyone should be doing something. You can't have that much asymmetric movement and the volume of reps that we have through the course of a whole PGA Tour season. You just don't have the time to undo that. So you have to have some resiliency and the opportunity just to kind of to deal with everything. And I think it plays a huge part in almost every PGA Tour player's lives, whether they admit to it or not. They're all doing something, and just to kind of go out there and utilize what we have here to go out there and push ourselves to be one of the best.
Yeah, and I've noticed a lot of the PGA Tour players. I think the PGA Tour has had some involvement in the Whoop bracelet, and they said that it has taught them how to recover, and they're learning more. And there's all this data about the body. Are you a believer in that as well?
Yeah, I mean, pure behavior modification. That's ultimately what it is, and learning habits and traits. And actually, the journal feature that they utilize now, as far as to understand what you do, a lot of that came from input from some PGA Tour guys and understanding that, man, all of our days are the same, but they're all different at the same time. Like we know what we're going to do. It's just a matter of when we're going to do it. And a lot of it's based on tee times, based on travel, based on weather. And there's just a lot of things that ultimately we want to control as much as we can. But at the end of the day, we kind of have to deal with the variables that, we sort of inherit, by just whenever we're out there. And so dealing with all those in a way to kind of quantify and a little bit be objective to understand, all right, when I do this happens, and you can kind of start to see kind of a cause and effect to kind of make better decisions and understand, all right, this is taking place. So what I'm going to have to do to recover and kind of overcome this so I can be ready to go again.
Right. And I know you said it's all individualistic and everybody does their own thing, but as far as a daily workout routine, how much time do you spend working out a day versus what you spend working on your golf game?
It kind of depends. We don't really have a set time in terms of a season of a traditional like strength and conditioning like periodization schedule. So you basically have a week of where it's sort of like a microcosm of what that would look like over the course of the year, like slow, longer, heavier, slower, and as the week progresses, shorter, faster, lighter with respect to my tee times and everything. And it's definitely been an ebb and flow. Critique my schedule a lot over the past probably month, just knowing that this is the biggest part of my schedule when I'm playing a bunch of events in a row. So I kind of cap it on a time or like an exertion, kind of use the Whoop and, some other tools to kind of help evaluate like just how much I'm truly putting in. But, I would say it's appropriate. And, kind of how I feel and understanding like what I need to get and the opportunity to take advantage of days when you can and off weeks when you can.
Right. What would you say has been the biggest benefit of your golf game from the changes that you've made in your body and working out?
Just resiliency, the time and effort that it takes to get me to play, and just waking up every single day figuring I can build upon what I did the day before instead of feeling like some days where I was starting over, I'm starting like way behind where I was. And I think a lot of the stuff goes into just planning and understanding what that looks like and utilizing the tools that are available. Got a great PT, a trainer, a guy that's kind of been with me from the very beginning. His name's Adam Curley. And we have a doctor that we started working with a few years ago that probably works with 7 or 8 other PGA Tour players. It just understands where you're at. Just quarterly lab work, nothing like, crazy, but just understanding through the course of the season, you're going to have bumps in the road. You're going to have, ups and downs, and kind of understanding just to maximize the highs and kind of minimize the lows, but also being realistic that, in the course of any season and any life, and especially as much as we're out there, I mean, you're going to come in contact with different things and have to deal with stuff that just understanding how to deal with it. I made a joke about when I was at Byron, cottonwood everywhere, and when my sinus surgery, seasonal allergies are pretty brutal, and just understanding kind of how to deal with that. And I'd kind of messed up some allergy medication, and Friday afternoon, that was one of the worst times I've ever felt on the golf course, and understanding how to deal with it and understand, kind of how to flush it out and, kind of get back on a little bit better plan to go what I was a little bit more used to, and kind of dealing with just seasonal allergy stuff while we're out there, and was able to come back, fortunate to make the cut and go back out Saturday morning and, 10 birdies, 1 bogey, 63, and put myself right in the opportunity to be right there on Sunday.
Right. I don't think a lot of people understand that, you're obviously the face of the franchise, with you being the guy swinging the club and being the player, but there's an entire team behind you, whether it's a caddy, whether it's the personal trainer, the doctor. I know you've got a statistician as well. How many people make up team Scott Stallings?
Well, I have my family. I have my wife, Jennifer, and my 2 kids, Finn and Millie. Finn's 8 and Millie's 5. And, they're kind of my baseline. I don't think they're super encouraging, but yet like what I do on the grass doesn't necessarily is indicative of like that relationship. More they're there, but I mean more just I refer to them as like a blessed distraction. Just because I mean, when I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a, whatever I'm needed, I'm there. And I'm my caddy, John. Been together for probably over five years now, and he's been great. Adam, Doc, short game, Tim, full swing, Hamilton.
Wow.
We're getting into multiple hands.
That's a lot,
Stats man, you have a manager, you have all these different things.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of people, man.
It's definitely more. It's definitely more than people think, but everyone gets along. Everyone's kind of focused on the same thing and just try to help. There's built-in accountability. Understanding, different ways to kind of look at approaching, problems, and, strengths and weaknesses and kind of how to maximize them and minimize them, and figure out the different things you need to do to be prepared week in and week out, and kind of go. And I'm very fortunate to have guys around me that help me out, and I feel fortunate they haven't they stuck with me through all this, and continue to help me to get better.
Yeah, that's tough. As an amateur, as somebody who's just a huge fan of golf, I play a lot. I drink. I know. I can imagine the eye roll I'm going to get when I tell you I drink way too many of these, way too many Coke Zeros. I probably couldn't pay you enough to put a Coke Zero in your body. And you know what? I understand. But what would you say is something that an amateur who just wants to improve their golf game, but yet at the same time be healthier? What are some exercises or things to do that are good? But once again, I know it's individualistic, and I'm not going to hold you to I want anything specific. But what are some things that are good for an amateur that would help their golf game, but yet help me be a healthier person as well?
Yeah, anything is better than nothing. And kind of, it's more not necessarily any exercise. It's just because you can doesn't mean you should. And that applies to all sorts of life, but definitely in amateur golf. And, some of my best friends in the world are 10, 12 handicaps, and we go play with them, and like, oh man, I shot 84, but I should have shot 78. And it's like, why didn't you shoot 78? It's like, well, I just went for it. And I think a lot of it's, traditional amateur golf. It's like, man, you may be like a traditional 9 to 5, or you get out one afternoon for 9 holes and maybe 18 holes on Sunday. So your opportunity to play is just so small. So you want to try to get out of it everything you can. And then next thing you know, you're a Monday at work and you're pissed because, your 84 should have been 78. And you're like, well, I shouldn't have gone for this, or I shouldn't have gone for that. And, it's amazing. We play with a guy on Pro-Am in Fort Worth this week. And dude is probably a 20 handicap, and he kept trying to chip it off the fringe. He's 2 feet off the green. I was like, man, you need to putt. You are not good enough to chip this ball. And understanding, and next thing you know, the team ended up doing really well. Obviously, he was getting a lot of strokes and going on. Just, man, understanding, what your true capabilities are, and kind of resting in that. Be who you are, not who you want to be, and understanding while you're out there, I think that will help people get a lot more out of their golf game than maybe they want. Maybe they don't want to hear those kind of things from a PGA Tour player, but it was amazing. After 3 holes, just like, man, I should putt everywhere. I was like, yes, you should.
I played in the Pro-Am one time with Alan Doyle on the Champions Tour. And I hit a drive, and I pulled it left, and I'm in the trees, and I've got my 6-iron out, and he walks over to me and goes, boy, what are you doing? I said, oh, there's a window right there. He goes, oh, okay. He goes, when you were back on the tee box and had a 75-yard fairway, wide fairway to hit in, you blew it over here in the trees. But now you've got a 2-foot window in the trees, and you're going to knock it through that 2-foot window. He goes, yeah, go ahead. And it bounced off the tree and bounces out of bounds. He goes, okay, I drop another ball and chop out. I dropped another ball, chopped out, hit it on the green and made bogey. He said, that's the problem. You're not good enough to knock it through that tiny little hole in the trees. If you were, you wouldn't be playing here in the Pro-Am.
Yeah, I think that's funny. The tour does a great job of engaging with all the different partners that we have. And, the Pro-Am is a unique atmosphere, and where, you get super successful and, people from all over the world, and people that are very comfortable in a traditional business setting. And then you get them on the golf course, and it's like panic sets in of everything that kind of comes in with it. And, it's amazing. I would say 95% of guys are like, man, if you tell me to do something, I will do it. You tell me to turn around, spin around 3 times and hit my driver, and I'm going to hit it, 250 down the middle, I'm in. But then you'll get this very, very small percentage that will try to I wouldn't say argue, but debate my thoughts on how to approach their game compared to how they are.
Right.
And I had a very similar situation to with yours with Alan Doyle, where this guy, he was a single-digit handicap. Obviously, you could tell that, he definitely had some game, but he continued to just put himself in just horrible places. And I said, man, like, the opportunity you have to help this team throughout this pro-am, like you just, you're shooting yourself in the foot before you can even have a chance to contribute. And he started debating, and finally I was like, man, can I just like talk you through this one hole to how to do it? And he went, he's like, man, I just never thought about that way. I was like, you're in my office now, man. Like, I'm not coming to sit at your desk telling you how to do your job, but
Right.
like, I've done this for a long time now, to the point of like, but it was funny. The rest of his team was like, this is amazing. He never listens to anyone.
But it took the guy who is a professional to tell him what to do. And let me guess, he played better and scored better when he played your way.
Yeah, his team is like, this is what we need the whole time. So, but it's definitely a cast of characters who you meet in pro-ams. And it's sort of a guess every single time, as far as what you're dealing with when you get out there. But it's nice for everyone to kind of have a glimpse of what we see and what we deal with on a day-to-day basis, and kind of be, it's a very unique environment in which, like, you could go on the field before Tom Brady plays, but I mean, you're not going to go like catch a pass over the middle and get tackled by some linebackers. Like, I don't want to do that. But the fact that, these the people participating get a chance to play golf course that we're competing on the next 4 days, the day before, and kind of get a glimpse of inside the ropes is what the PGA Tour and what golf has to offer, which not a lot of sports can, recreate.
Oh no, I think it's amazing. I always say that golf is the one sport that you can tee it up on the, like you said, you can't go catch a pass from Tom Brady. You might be able to walk on the field, but you can't go to Yankee Stadium and have Mariano Rivera in the day throw you a pitch. It doesn't work that way. But our sport, you can go to a golf course, you can go to Torrey Pines, you can go to Pebble Beach, and if you pay enough money to get on the tee box, you can go all the way to the back and you can play it just like you guys play it. And that's what makes this sport so amazing. And you realize when you do play, if you're lucky enough to play in a pro-am, or if you're lucky enough to ever play with a PGA Tour professional, just go to an event and listen to the sound the ball makes when they hit it, and you'll realize it is a different ball game.
Yeah, it's a unique. I've done a few athlete outings that it all comes around golf, and I would say that golfers predominantly are not the most popular athletes compared to some of the traditional mainstream sports. But when you come to a golf event with super competitive athletes, when you're picking teams, the golfers are the first ones to get picked because everyone wants one of us on their team.
Right.
I was with Under Armour for a long time early in my career, and we'd go do these golf outings, and next thing you know, it's like, you're on my team. Like, oh, sure. Like, you'd see, and
sure.
All the different athletes through all the different sports are like, we're definitely getting one of these pros, because we can't do it without them. And so it's definitely a common ground sport, and the tour has done a great job to continue to put us in opportunities to where we can showcase that throughout all the different places that we play.
It is. You brought up earlier, you were talking about guys who are working out and who have really brought fitness to the forefront in golf. And Bryson is one that during the pandemic, we completely saw a transformation. You go back and look at Bryson pre-pandemic, and even last year or 2 years ago was a completely different guy than this Bryson. Have you ever, did any of Bryson's transformation make you want to chase distance ever at all, Scott?
No.
None. Yeah, because I know Rory had said that he was guilty of kind of trying to chase distance, and it ruined his game, and he has now gone over to Pete Cowan and has had a win this year, won the Wells Fargo. So I'm wondering if other guys are seeing like, hey, I see the way he's playing the game. Maybe I could play it that way as well, and using fitness to try and get longer and try and change the player that they are.
I think a big misconception of Bryson, obviously the distance thing is incredible, and to hit it the length that he's hitting it, and honestly as straight as he's hitting it. But man, for that stretch, when you are gaining over 2 shots a day putting, and you drive at 350, golf is not that hard. So I think everyone puts this emphasis on the transition, which is great. And to each his own, man. He put the work in, and he's had a huge amount of success coming from it. But like stats don't lie, and gaining off the tee is huge, and opportunities to short clubs and this and that. But he had one stretch where he was gaining almost a full, maybe 3/4 of a shot on the field every time he teed up putting. Like, it's over. I mean, those are like Tiger numbers.
Right. Where do you stand on the arm lock putting? Do you have an issue with it? Do you think there's a problem there?
I don't know. I think the whole that's another USGA conversation, maybe with an adult beverage. But just the things that they choose to go into and change and make it more complicated and this and that. Like, I don't understand how you can jam it up against your arm, but you can't stick it. Like, I have no idea. I understand the premise of it in terms of but if it was truly that. Same thing with the belly putter. If the belly putter was truly that much better, why didn't everyone on tour use it? And if the arm lock is truly that much better, why is, maybe 5 or 6 guys on tour using it and maybe only one guy stuck with it? And then you have Cooch now that he's done it backwards. And, I don't know, putting is very individualistic, just like golf is. But the banning of clubs and balls and all the different other myriad of things they're talking about getting rid of, and that's probably a different conversation.
No, I'm with you. I agree 100%. This I don't think anybody's ever said, yeah, I hit the ball too far. And so I think you're going down a slippery slope when you're either going to try and dial it back, number one, and then number two, how do you have a different set of clubs and balls for amateurs versus pros? I mean, it's a really slippery slope that I hope we don't venture down anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think people see the conditions that we play. I mean, anyone that's ever been to a tour event, like, you're going to see the golf course in a set up in a spot where it may never be ever again until we play there for the next year. And, the firmness of the fairways and, just everything that we deal with, like, it's just perfect. So obviously you're going to have optimal performance from your equipment, but like, conditions play a huge part of it. I mean, Byron was a perfect example of, we were looking back at some of the drives that we hit based off wind and rain when we played on Sunday. And number 10, I hit my drive. It was downwind off the right, and it had just started raining just a little bit, but nowhere near like it did later in the week and later in the round. And drive was like 340, which is great. Downwind fairways were still kind of kicking out there pretty good and going. And then we turn around and go into the wind, and it's pumping the rain now. And 16 and 18, I did not hit either one of my drives 250 yards.
Wow.
So, like, just understanding, like, man, there's so many different things that can go into making the ball go further. Obviously, our equipment is way better. The training and the physical side is way better. But ultimately, you put a set of conditions in there with a little bit of the elements, and I mean, that can affect more than anything. And obviously, the turf conditions that we play as well.
Right. You knew I had to ask you this before before I let you go and we're done here. I got to ask you, where do you stand in the Brooks and Bryson feud that had started last week with the video that came out? They took it down, and then they announced the match, and Brooks tweets at Aaron Rodgers that he's sorry he's got to spend an afternoon with Bryson. I mean, what is going on here, and how much of this do you think is driven by the PIP, by that new player impact performance program?
Honestly, I don't know that much about it. I know that, they've obviously had their differences, I would say. I don't know either guy super well. I definitely probably know, if I know one of them better, I know Brooks significantly better, and then I know Bryson. But who knows, man? Go out there, and ultimately at the end of the day, we're golfers. The score that we put in the box at the end kind of determines ultimate. But it is unique to have sort of it's definitely dueling personalities, to say the least. And I don't know if that's good or bad for our game, but I mean, at the end of the day, I'm gonna let them deal with that. I'm kind of go worry about my stuff, and I got enough on my plate to deal with.
How many times did you watch the video? Because I'm going to admit that I watched it about 100 times, because I was trying to hear what Bryson said that made Brooks so upset, but I can't make it out. So in my head, I don't have any idea what the reason was. I just know Brooks was really upset.
I haven't seen it all. I've seen all the pictures that people made after the fact. Because honestly, if I'm not in the event, I don't really pay that much attention to. I watch Phil finish on Sunday just because, man, that's something you may never see again. But I didn't know anything about any of that stuff taking place. And that was right when we were doing the section qualifier as well. So we were dealing with the rain. And so I got asked about it last week. And honestly, I didn't know anything about it. I saw a bunch of funny pictures that people would kind of like reposition and everything. So it makes a lot more sense now.
Right. It really does. Scott, what is your schedule moving forward? I know you just played this week at Colonial at the Charles Schwab, but what does your schedule look like moving forward?
I'm off this week. Congaree, which is a new venue, a place where I'm an ambassador with a group of guys down there in South Carolina. So look forward to having, the world be able to see the golf course that they've created truly in the middle of nowhere.
I want to talk to you about that, actually.
And I
want to talk to you about that because that's something I don't think a lot of people know is that they don't have paying members per se. They have people who are ambassadors who give their time and help build the game of golf in that area. And if you're one of those, I would love to have you talk about that.
Yeah, it's kind of a unique model. I mean, you had three guys, come together and put together this golf course that's, first of all, it's incredible and kind of come from all over the country. And, the idea of trying to make the game of golf better from all different parts. And one of the guys that kind of helped put the golf course together is a guy named John McNeely, who's JT Poston's coach, and a guy that I know from Diamond Creek in North Carolina. And they had this idea of they wanted a golf course where it kind of culminate, some of the great clubs that all these people were involved in and kind of create a place to, push and grow the game. And I got a letter kind of listing all the stuff that I do with junior golf in the state of Tennessee and asked if I would, be considered to be an ambassador at Congaree. And I was in. First time I went there and played the golf course, and made me want to quit. They had the fastest greens I've ever played in my entire life. I think I played 13 or 14 holes, and I was like, golly, I'm not prepared for this place. But just the mission statement of everything that they do down there and trying to grow the game and present opportunities from, no matter what demographic that you come from. And,
right.
Really cool mission statement and a bunch of incredible people down there that are, continuing to try to push the game in the right direction.
That's awesome. It really is a cool deal. And I've heard a lot about it. I know Harold Varner's another one who is also an ambassador for the club. And so it's really cool how they're doing things. It's different. And I'm glad that they are doing it. And there are tour pros like yourself and other guys who are buying in and helping grow golf in a different way that we haven't seen before. What current changes or what things are you working on in your swing as you move forward, as you take this week off and play next week?
I would like to go see what fairways are like at the next course that I play. I didn't see very many of them at Colonial. I made the cut and then I hit it in the rough a lot. So no, just consistency. Made some pretty significant changes in my putting and kind of the approach to some green reading and stuff. So, continue to go from there. I didn't do my best at Colonial to have, but the weeks prior, I definitely saw some signs of life and getting ready to go into a stretch of the season that I really enjoy. And the course that I play here in town is Donald Ross in Knoxville, Tennessee, Holston Hills, and very similar to where we play in Detroit, which is the old school Donald Ross as well. So I always enjoy going there. Hartford next, and Congaree, a place that I've had a lot of time to be there, and look forward to the next little stretch of golf I have coming up.
Good deal. Well, Scott, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Good luck at the Palmetto Championship at Congaree and moving forward throughout the season. And once again, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man, and I look forward to seeing everyone out on tour here soon.
You got it. We'll see you out there, and good luck to you. Appreciate it.
I just want to interrupt this interview real quick and give a shout out to my friends over at OnCore Golf. OnCore provides some of the most cutting-edge technology in a golf ball that I have ever seen. Their team in Buffalo, New York is changing the script of golf technology through their perimeter-weighted designs, which offer players enhanced accuracy and control for every shot on the course. With their award-winning Elixir and Avant 55 golf balls, they are transforming the game for players of all skill levels. Visit OnCoreGolf.com/Travis Fulton for more details about their products that are revolutionizing the game. Now back to the Stripe Show.